hello, folks. Jack Douglas, Arsenal. No, hello, folks. Hope you're all well. I do. Big debate at the moment. There, I don't know if you've heard about it. It's on the TV today. Smacking children. That's the big at the moment. That's the one that they're looking at. You know, and they want to outlaw it, which is fine. Everybody to their own. I say. You know, I mean, I'm from the older brigade, and I suppose as I was younger, I was smacked the odd time, I suppose. I mean, I trot out that line that all us old uns often do. It never did me any harm. No, it didn't. I did get smacked, but it never did me any harm. Now, stop messing about. Now, come on. Stop messing about. This is serious. This is a serious subject. Now, from what I can gather, from what I've heard today, you can't smack a child in Wales and that there Scotland. It's been outlawed. Now, as for England and the Northern Ireland at this moment in time, you can smack a child if it's your own child and if you want to. The rest of Ireland, I don't know. That never came up to it, never got mentioned. But I thought about it, and I'm probably from that older generation, well, that definitely grew up with being smacked. Not all of us did, but many of us did. I've got to confess, folks, I did myself. Probably not all the time, but when I stepped out of line and I couldn't be controlled by my mum's tongue or my dad's, I may get smacked. Probably not as often by my dad. More my mum, although my mum had us more than my dad did. My dad worked longer hours and worked shifts. Probably only got smacked 2 or 3 times by my dad all my life, but it's one of them that when I did, I knew I'd gone too far, I knew I'd upset him, and I turned things around. So, I know I'll have some of the older generation on my side, but there'll still be a lot that don't believe in smacking anymore. But I am somebody that feels, well, number one, it should be up to the parents. And number 2, sometimes I think you do need that maybe as a last resort. Not a first resort, but a last resort. You do get some children that no matter how much you reprimand them, and no matter how much you withhold things from them, they can still be naughty. And sometimes, to smack them works. If you've got a child that you're smacking and it's not working, it's silly doing it. But if it works on a child and other things won't, then I understand people doing it. As I say, I know it won't make me popular. It's just my thoughts. You know, and I'm one of those people that believes really bringing a child up should be up to the parents. I don't think any government should tell you how to bring a child up. Now, you know, I've got no problem with government with this smoking thing, whereby they're trying to stop people smoking, children smoking. You'll have some parents that think that that's wrong. You'll have some parents that smoke themselves thinking, well, I've enjoyed smoking and I want my own son or daughter to have that pleasure if they want to, or that choice. I don't mind what the government's doing on that one because I think it's to do with people's health and well-being. Many say smacking is the same in that it can scar folk, it can ruin them in later life, and it can make them, because they've been smacked and then been smacked them, that they've been smacked and then they've smacked their children, that their children will go up and smack others. Now, I believe that within the next year or two, or with the next few months, it will get outlawed in England and probably Northern Ireland. But I'm not so sure that I believe it's right. And yes, I was smacked when I was younger. I trot out that old line all the time, it didn't do any harm, but really it didn't. No, it didn't, honestly, it didn't. I mean, I've grown up where you got smacked at school. You know, ruler, cane, galosha, the bottom end of a rope, you know, the ropes that you used to climb up in PE, the bottom end was wrapped in leather. That wasn't nice on your posterior. I've had that as well. Blackboard rubbers thrown at you, that's naughty. That shouldn't happen, especially when they're all wood on one end of the thing. I think they were wood. That's naughty, but we only had one guy doing that, and chalk. Bit naughty again, could take your eye out. Naughty that, shouldn't be throwing chalk. But yeah, I've been reprimanded, and at school, I mean, for all I come across as a lovely human being, a really nice lad, at school I was a little bit of a terror. Maybe that's wrong. I like to make people laugh, and sometimes to make people laugh, you have to do stupid things, or do things you shouldn't do, or things behind your teacher's back. And more often than not, you'd get caught, and when you got caught, you paid the price. And we know that there's been a lot of sadistic teachers throughout the country over the years, especially in these private schools. I did have one teacher that probably enjoyed the confrontation between pupil and teacher. Well, 2 to be exact. One did it all above board. He did use the bottom of the rope on me once, but it was galoshes and the bottom of the rope. The other one was the blackboard man, the blackboard rubber and the chalk. That was a bit far. But the rest just did what they were told they had to do to put you in line, and I cope with it. I mean, the way I see it, I did wrong. I got punished, but I really do believe he's not scabbed me in later life. You know, have I smacked my children? Yes. Not on a regular basis, no. Have I ever been upset with smacking them? Once with one child, because the child was older than he or she should have been, and I really, really, really wish I hadn't have done it. But that said, he or she did something that I believe to be really bad and really needed shaking up, and I know how much it shook up he or she, not because of the ferocity of how I smacked them, but because they were older, they didn't expect to smack off the dad, and I think it made them realise how out of line they were. It wasn't in something that they'd actually done. It was, well, it was and wasn't. I won't go into it because that's their story. It's not mine to tell. But I wanted them to know how displeased I was, and I think it worked. But I felt bad doing it. When the children were younger and did it, I didn't feel bad at all. But I would always smack them as a last resort. I mean, normally my voice is loud enough and I'm abrupt enough to make them jump out the skin, and they do as they're told. The grandkids do now. We have a little laugh and a joke about it. No need to smack the grandkids. They're frightened to death of me. In a nice way. They like me, folks. I'm good with them. I promise you that. But they know I've got a voice on me, and it makes them jump, which isn't always a bad thing. So smacking, no, I don't think it should be outlawed. I do think a parent should have the choice. If we're looking at excessive smacking and hurting children, I mean physically, genuinely hurting them, I'm not for that at all. I know we've got reports of kiddies that are ultimately killed and beaten up and whatever else by parents. That's just sadism. That's not smacking. That's worse than smacking. That's beating somebody up. No, I'm not for that. As for this, that it ruins a children's life and in later life they never recover from it, I don't believe that. The do-gooders out there can tell me it's true. The psychologists, psychoanalysts and all these or whatever they are can tell me that that's the case. I don't believe that at all. If your mother or father once or twice or 3 times a year smacks you and doesn't beat you up, and you've done something wrong, and they can make you see what you've done wrong, and you can go away and think about it, you may do it again, but you may get smacked again. I don't think that does you any harm in later life. I really don't. But that's just my thoughts. I know I'm going to have a few agreeing with me, and many disagreeing with me on this one, even the older generation that was brought up with being smacked. But it's just my opinion, folks, and that's what I do on here. I look at any subjects of the day, and I give you my take on it. I don't do it to be popular or for everyone to agree, and I know many won't do with this one. But that's my opinion. As I say, it never did me any harm. Now stop messing about there. It's a serious subject, is this one, you know.